Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do something a little bit the same and a little bit different. So we're going to be doing a get ready with me, but as you can see, my makeup is already done. We are going to be doing a hair get ready with me. So, and I was thinking as I was doing my hair that we would do the top 5 tricks to growing out your hair. So as you can see, my hair is pretty long, so it probably took me about 2.5 years to grow out my hair. So it does take some time, so you do have to be patient, and I probably grew it out from shoulder length. It's been long for a while now, probably about 1.5 years or so, but as I am telling you those facts and kind of my opinion and some tips and tricks, then I am going to be curling my hair with a styling wand, just so you can kind of see what I'm doing and also get some really good information while we're at it. All right, well, let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is section out our hair. I just left a section, what is that, like the top of the ear down, and then that's what I'm going to use to wand. I'm just going to brush through it. So yesterday I washed my hair and it was also straightened, and then I put it on a bun on the top of my head overnight, and then this is what it looks like today. So with wanding your hair, you don't need to take like too big of sections or too small of sections, and you just want to make sure that you are going away from your face. I just have my mirror over here so I don't burn myself. I'll probably still burn myself. So really our first, my first kind of tip and trick is kind of how often you get your hair cut. So for growing out your hair, a lot of people think, and a lot of hairdressers tell you, that you need to cut it quite frequently, every 6 to 8 weeks, but I am not necessarily a believer in that frequency. I think that that's actually too much. So your hair can only grow so much in 2 months. Well, yeah, that's about 2 months or so. So I would definitely say the better time to wait would probably be like every 3 to 4 months. So that works out to be 3 to 4 cuts a year. So you should have like one good cut, and that should just be once a year that you have that really good cut, and you should take a couple inches off. Now this will just make sure that you get rid of all of those split ends that might have been traveling up your hair a little bit, and also just to make sure that everything is nice and healthy, and then that you can get a really good shape put back into your hair. Hold on, let's see if I can do this. I'm looking in a mirror, and I normally look in a mirror, but I also normally don't have to like talk to people while doing this because I want my hair to be curled away from my face. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so you have one good cut a year, and then you should have 2 to 3 other cuts throughout the year, and those are just like micro cuts, so just little. So just make sure you get the split ends off. It just stops breakage and damage, and yeah, pretty straightforward. So altogether between 3 and 4 cuts a year, one good cut, and 2 to 3 kind of like micro cuts. The second tip that I have is what kind of haircut you have. So some people have thicker hair, some people have thinner hair. No matter what, you shouldn't have too much texture at the bottom of your hair if you are trying to grow it out. You can try like having a haircut where you have a lot of texture, but what I find is the more texture you have at the bottom, so by texture I mean like wispiness, so the more texture you have at the bottom of your hair, then the more likely it is to break off, because it doesn't have that extra protection of the rest of your hair to kind of guard it, let's say. Oh, nice. So definitely pay attention to your haircut. Try to keep it not necessarily blunt, so it can still have a little bit of texture, but nothing like too wispy. If you see me looking over here, I just have like a couple of notes, and they're on my iPad, and sometimes it shuts off. So I'm just like pushing the button to get it to come back up again, and then also my mirror is over there. So now that we have the bottom layer, I am not gonna go through and break it up. Like in general, I just want this to be like kind of messy. I'm just adding a little bit of texture. The next section that I did was kind of from my temple down. Now this all depends, like all the sectioning depends on how thin or thick your hair is. My hair is actually super extra thick, so I just did it to my temple, mostly because like if I was flat ironing, then I would do it down. Like I do this probably in 2 sections just to make sure it was really straight. But like I want that bigger wave, like a kind of a Victoria's Secret wave, as opposed to tight curls or super straight or anything like that. So I'm just taking bigger sections, so I just use my temple area. And then before I curl, I'm just gonna kind of brush through with my paddle brush just to make sure there's no tats or anything. It just makes your curls look a little bit cleaner. All right, so let's get curling the second section. So take a chunk here. What should I do? 2 sections? Let's do 2. Let's see what happens. All right, so my kind of tip number 3 is your hair color choice. So this is one that's maybe not quite so obvious. So basically what I mean by hair color choice is don't go too many shades. If you're trying to grow out your hair, don't go too many shades kind of away from what your natural is. Going darker, that's fine, but going lighter any more than like 2 or 3 shades, that can be super damaging. You might have to bleach it out twice or 3 times or multiple times. The more you use bleach or lightener or anything like that on your hair, it definitely is more damaging. So the less processing in general, the better it is for your hair. So I used to be more blonde, so highlighted blonde, and then at one point I was full-on bleach blonde and I had pastel pink hair, and I expected my hair to grow somehow, and it obviously didn't, because I did try growing it for a long time, but I just was A, getting too many cuts, and B, the color just wasn't right. Like it was too damaging, your hair becomes too dry, and yeah, it just like didn't work out for me. So I would definitely say, like, if you want something, oh, that guy's real curly. We'll see what happens when I comb that out. If you want something a little bit more fun and exciting, I know a lot of people want to be that blonde color because it gives like a really big impact. Go for like a semi-permanent color, but pick like a purple or a red or something like that. So something that is a little bit brighter and a little bit more interesting, but in a semi-permanent, it's actually going to kind of act like a treatment as opposed to damaging, because it's not lifting up your hair cuticle as much as, let's say, a permanent, or definitely not bleach. So let's just wait for this guy to finish curling here. So I took a bigger section, kind of when you're curling your hair, once you can feel the heat through your hair, then that usually means that it's done. Like I said, I want all of this to be like a messy look. I still want it to all go together, but I don't want it to be exact. If you feel like, if your hair is really long like mine and you feel like it doesn't fit on the rod, just push it up with the hair as well. So we'll just kind of wait for this guy to finish, and then we'll take another section, and then we'll go with tip number 4. No, kitty. Kitty! Okay, get down. Hey, kitty. Hello, kitty. This is serious. Hello. He wants to join in on the fun. He keeps trying to jump up in the window here. But you're not allowed. You're not allowed. Okay, get down. All right, so my next parting here, basically what I did, I'm gonna part my hair on this side today. And what I'm going to do is, of course, brush it out, but also I always just divide it down the middle. It's nice when you like use a wand on your hair is that you can definitely tell what has been wanded. Wanded? Is that a verb? Well, it is now. What's been wanded? And it's really easy to determine what you've done and what you haven't done. So I'm gonna brush through here. And then the same thing on this side. I find kind of pulling your hair forward to do it, so dividing in the middle and pulling forward, you're over directing everything towards your face. So like your curl, as you break it up, it should like taper back, and I really like that look. So it's like an advantage to kind of doing it the way that I'm doing it. It's like more or less in the middle. All right, so now our hair is all sectioned out and brushed out and ready to go. We're gonna go on with tip number 4. So tip number 4 to growing out your hair is definitely the hair products that you use. So putting something in your hair of a pretty good quality is essential. So I know everyone, like, you want to be cheaper and go to the drugstore and pick out something quick, like $5, but honestly, like, if you want to grow out your hair, you do need to invest a little bit of money. So some of my favorite product brands are basically anything by Aveda. So I work with Aveda at my hair salon, and I work there because I believe in the product. So, well, it's not the only reason why I work there, but I absolutely adore Aveda products. I think that their message is really great. What they have to offer, their products actually work. The price is a little bit more expensive, but everything is really concentrated, so you know that you're getting like a lot of product, even though it doesn't seem like there is, because it definitely lasts me a super long time. So right now I'm really obsessed with nourishing cream. So basically what it does is it makes the hair super soft and super shiny, and then adds a lot of extra moisture to your hair so that you can, you know, between washes, it keeps your hair nice and protected. But also, when you do put a product in your hair, when you do something like this, so when you're heat styling, and I do happen to overheat my hair. I don't know if you've ever been to the salon and they're flat ironing it, and it seems like there's steam coming from your head. So that's usually just the product burning off. And then that's like activating it as well. So you definitely want the product to burn off first, because then that means that that damage doesn't happen to your hair. So at the like bare minimum, when you are picking out a product, you want to use a leave-in conditioner. Now this leave-in conditioner, once again, it will do all those things that I already said, heat protectant and add moisture, like that. You can even use your regular conditioner just a little bit, as long as it's of good quality, so it has some essential oils in it. So the trick is though, when you are using products, so there are products out there specifically for heat. One of them, I won't mention exactly what it is, but I'm not a huge fan of the way that they've marketed it. Certain kind of oil, sounds like Maraca, and this oil, it's just argan oil, but my issue with it is that sometimes they'll say on the package, apply to damp or dry hair and style as desired. Now, I'm not like quoting the box. If it doesn't actually say it in those words, then I kind of take it back. However, I do know from experience, like with guests coming in and seeing me and telling me what they use on their hair, they do put it on and they almost think it's like a heat protectant, but it is definitely not a heat protectant. You would think like putting oil on your hair, you know, it's moisturizing, that your hair is actually absorbing it, which it is to a certain point, but it's not absorbing it 100%. So basically what I'm trying to say is, what happens when you add heat and oil? I'll let you think about that for a second. And I also would like you to think of how they make fries at McDonald's. Heat and oil. So you are essentially deep frying your hair by putting oil on first and then heat styling. So I'll get clients in or guests in and they won't understand why their hair isn't growing, that it's breaking off, especially if they're blonde. And I'll kind of go through everything that they do in their daily routine and what products they use, and usually that product comes up or a similar product, and it's just the order that they put it in. Now you can put it in damp hair and then let it fully dry in. You can blow dry it in because at that point it is fully absorbed, or at least it is more to a dry state. When it's in that liquidy, oily state, that's when you're going to get the deep frying of your hair. And obviously nobody wants that. So definitely be careful what you're using. Cream-based products are always really good. If you must use a heat protectant, just look at the ingredients, make sure that there aren't too many oils or anything like that, and make sure, like, look up a couple YouTube videos or anything like that on it, and just make sure that it isn't going to damage your hair more than what you're trying to prevent, is basically what I'm trying to say. Because you do not want your hair to turn out like McDonald's French fries. Not good. But I have seen it. But still not good. Alright, so wait for this last piece to set, and that's all done. And we're gonna go on to my fifth, and I swear this is the most important point, so please listen up as I get this top section ready. This is the most important one. This is the one that I think makes a huge difference, and people always, oh, there's some sirens. See, this is how important it is. There needs to be emergency services for how important this is. All right, here we go. Tip number 5. All right, we are on to our very last section. So what did I do? Of course, brushed it out. Like I said before, I already established my part line, so this side's already curled. There's more hair on this side, so I'm just gonna finish off with this last little section. And what should we do? Let's do just 2 sections, because once again, I don't want these to be too curly. Awesome. All right, so I made you wait for this tip number 5, and this is, like I said, I feel like this is the most important point out of all of them. And you're probably like, all right, Lacey, get to it. I just really need to stress the importance of it, and that is treatments. So a lot of people think it's not necessary. You know, I put conditioner in my hair. Isn't that enough? No, it is not enough. Your conditioner, you know, it will only last for so long. It's not in long enough. The oils in it are not intense enough. You do need a mask. So the one that I really love is the hydrating mask from Aveda. I swear by this product. I believe it's approximately $48 for 250 milliliters, but honestly, like, you use it once a week. And maybe, so for my hair I use more because obviously I have a lot more hair, but when you're growing out your hair, you don't have a lot of hair yet. So definitely picking up that product. It will last a really long time, so it's a great option. So how often should you use a treatment? So I'm gonna say once a week. If you wanna do it more, that's fine, but once a week is probably like the standard of how I think that you should put it in. All right, I'm just concentrating here. I do not want to burn my face. And this is the piece right in front of my face, so I want to make sure it's curled properly and not too high or too low or anything like that. So with the treatments, like I said, once a week, that is the perfect amount of time. You just want to make sure that you saturate your mid shafts and your ends of your hair, and also the baby hairs around your hairline. So a lot of people get a lot of breakage, especially in front of their ears, kind of where, like, on a man would be considered like sideburns, which obviously on a woman, not the same. So just make sure you're concentrating that around those areas as well. If you find that it's getting a little bit greasy, then maybe don't do it every time, but every other time is also nice. But just make sure that those places are getting hit, like maybe about once a month. And also make sure that you are paying special attention to actually the surface of your hair, because that part gets exposed to more elements, so wind and sun and water and all of those things, and even things such as sleeping damage your hair. So make sure that you are putting that treatment, especially on the surface, just to make sure that any of that abrasion from the elements, that it is being tamed out. So like I said, once a week, and it will do your hair miracles. I swear by it. I know from experience that these 5 steps do work, and that they have worked for me. And if you follow them, then I totally think that you will have super long hair in just a few years. Yes, years. It takes a long time, so years. So let's get back to kind of what's going on here. I started to brush this out a little bit. I just felt that it was a little bit hot still. You do want to wait for it to cool. It doesn't have to be all the way cool if you want them to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of settle out a little bit if you did do it too curly, but I feel like what I have going right now is actually really nice. So what are we gonna do? Just take our fingers and brush through it. So this will just make it look a little bit more natural. You do not want to kind of keep it in the state that the wand has put it in, because like I know some people really like that separation look, but it is not a good look. Just trust me. Like you think that running your hands through it, all that hard work that you just did will be ruined, but it actually does the opposite. Like you want to look like you woke up like this, or that it grows out of your head, like this. Shake it up a little bit and make it beautiful and big. What was that voice I was doing? And big. Oh my gosh, that reminds me, Sutton is really into the songs from Frozen. I think yesterday was the first time we watched it all the way through, but she's really into them and singing them. And so when I sing Love is an Open, and then she goes, Door, and it is so cute. Little tidbit there of my life. I hope you guys have a really good day, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!